Alright, what's going on everybody? So lately I've been getting the same questions from a lot of people in the comment section. What are some of your favorite anime? What are some of the anime that you consider to be masterpieces? Which anime do you consider to be underrated? So I wanted to take some time to just answer those questions while also redoing the tier list video that I made last year. Now last night I did try to do a live stream and try to do this live, but that didn't work out. The broadcast ended up getting interrupted, so I decided to call it a night and just go ahead and do it this way, pre-recorded. So thanks. I just want to just thank the people that came out and supported that live stream before I go on. So thanks for watching that though. But this is gonna be the definitive video here. So like I said, I wanted to take some time to just answer those questions and then just redo the tier list video. I'll go through the list of shows for each tier and I'll comment on some of them, but I won't speak on each one because I don't want this video to be too long. Hopefully it won't be over an hour or something like the original tier list video. So there was a rule that I decided that, okay, shows that I've only seen a few episodes of, like Ghost in the Shell, Food Wars, Darker Than Black, Blood Blockade, Black Cat, shows like that. I'm going to omit those shows. I'm not going to mention those. However, I did make one exception for one show that I'll speak on later. The anime are listed in no particular order, so don't mind the placement. Don't read into the placement unless I specifically say something about the placement of the shows. Don't read into it too much. And like I said, I'll go through the list. I'll kind of comment on everything. So, for those of you guys who have not seen any of my tier lists before, the way I do these things, I go from S tier being the highest to E tier being the lowest. So we're gonna start off with E tier. And so at E tier we have King's Game, Gundam Unicorn, School Days, Inuyasha, Tokyo Ghoul, Sword Art Online 2, in which I'm going to count Sword Art Online, the first and second season, as two separate shows. So Sword Art Online 2, we have Eureka 7, or Eureka 7, forgive the pronunciation. We have Eureka 7, Casherin Sins, Duel Masters, and Bobo. And just to repeat the list, we have King's Game, Gundam Unicorn, School Days, Inuyasha, Tokyo Ghoul, Sword Art Online 2, Eureka 7, Casherin Sins, Duel Masters, and Bobo. Now, Bobo, I used to love that as a kid. I probably wouldn't like it now. King's Game was terrible. Gundam Unicorn, that's probably my most hated Gundam series. I don't think it's... I'll put G Gundam over Gundam Unicorn. I'll just put it that way. School Days, it was terrible, but it was something that I watched at like 4 a.m. when I was in college, and I was very entertained by it. I watched a bad dub that I thought was legit. Duel Masters was one of those... That was like one of those fake Yu-Gi-Oh! Type card game shows. It made no sense. The show itself made no sense. The card game was actually kind of fun. Casherin Sins was like super repetitive. And Sword Art Online, like with all the Sword Art Online series, with the exception of the newest one, Sword Art Online 2 is probably the one that I hated the most. It probably is the weakest one out of all of them. Like Reki Karahara's work, it's gotten better with Sword Art Online Alicization, and I'll kind of speak on that later, but I would have to say Sword Art Online 2 was probably the weakest one. Cause like even after the main game, like after what's the guy's name? I think his name is like Death Gun or whatever. Like after Bullet of Bullets, after that whole first arc or whatever, like it really fell off to the point where I just dropped the show. Okay, so going on to D tier. So at D tier we have Fairy Tail, Assassin's Pride, Big Order, Pantheon Stocking, Chaos Head, Chaos Child, Tenchi Muyo, Hunter x Hunter, Sword Art Online, Dragon Ball Super, Black Lagoon, Attack on Titan, Gundam Seed, Divine Gate, and Afterlost. So Chaos Child is better than Chaos Head, but both series could have been a lot better if the seasons were a lot longer. Like if the seasons were the same length as Robotics Notes and Steins Gate, I think it would have been a lot better. I kind of regret putting it down this far because like most of the author, most of this guy's work, any of the science adventure shows, they have the potential. I believe that they're really really good. I've heard the visual novels are really good, but the thing is with those shows, I mean they need longer seasons because there's a lot that you can explore with it. So yeah, unfortunately, I had to put it at D tier. I wanted to put it at C. I didn't think it would be fair to the other shows because I'm kind of weighing these shows against each other. So that probably wouldn't be right. Tenchi Muyo is one of those shows that I liked back in the day, but I don't think holds up now, or at least as an adult. I look at it, I'm just like, oh no. Mainly because of the harem part of it, which I know is like one aspect of it. And to be honest, I haven't watched it in a while, but when I tried to watch it, like when it came back on Toonami, I wasn't feeling it. I didn't think it was as good. Maybe it seemed as not revolutionary, but I don't know. Maybe it worked more when, I can't speak for everybody else, but it worked for me as a child, but maybe not now. I don't know if some of y'all might feel that way, but yeah. Dragon Ball Super, I've talked about this before, so I won't belabor the point. It's the bastardization of the Dragon Ball franchise. I talked about this series enough, so I won't really belabor the point there. Y'all already know how I feel about Hunter x Hunter. All I'm gonna say is this: that people confuse being influential with being excellent. It's a below average show, especially by today's standards, and it suffers from a lot of the issues that I've discussed throughout the years. Pacing, generic character, generic character designs, main characters a blank slate, and I know that people have gone out of their way to kind of defend Togashi with the fact that okay, Gon was supposed to be that was an intentional thing, him being the blank slate because Killua, like, he wanted the other characters to shine more, but I'll kind of give this comparison, and I know I might draw a bit more hate by kind of making this comparison, and not necessarily from the Hunter x Hunter crowd, from the Mad Max. If you like the movie Mad Max Fury Road, this is the comparison I'll give. I hated Mad Max in that movie. I hated Max in that movie. It's like, dude didn't do anything. Like, it really wasn't his movie. It was Furiosa's movie. Like, I feel like it's kind of that thing with Gon. It's like, Gon is the blank slate character, and this is by some of y'all fans' words that y'all even said that okay, he was meant to be a blank slate. Killua and Karapika, those are the dudes that you're supposed to really like get attached to. But then I'm just like, well, why is he even there? I mean, that's just me. That's just me. But yeah. So I think I've said all I wanted to say about this part of the tier list. Divine's Gate. So Divine Gate. Before I move on, Divine Gate, that could have been a lot better. It felt like there wasn't enough material for that anime to go off of. And Fairy Tail, because I know they're like Fairy Tail fans. They're very passionate. I'm a fan of Fairy Tail. I can't put this higher than D tier, especially after what Hiro Mishima did with that final season. It could have been so much better. That's all I'm gonna say. It could have been so much better. But I love Fairy Tail. Oh yeah, one more before we move on. Just one more. Big Order. Big Order is a beautiful dumpster fire I had the pleasure of stumbling onto earlier this year. It's like if Future Diary and Code Geass had a kid that got hit on the head way too many times. This show, if you have not seen it, and I'm gonna save my overall impressions of that show because I might have to do a review of that one of these days. But look, if y'all want something to just watch and just be like at all of, I recommend you watch it. I almost recommend it, like for those of you who like to watch bad shows, I recommend that. You'll get a kick out of it. So moving on to the C tier. So at C tier, we have Radiant, Speed Grapher, Bleach, Occultic 9, Fairy Gone, Darwin's Game, Demon Slayer, Sora Online Alicization, Cyborg 009, Overlord, Gantz, Wiseman's Grandchild, Blood Lad, Danganronpa The Animation, Space Patrol Luluko, K, Elfen Lied or Elfen Lead, forgive the pronunciation, I've heard this show pronounced so many different ways. Sora Online Alicization, Bento, Accel World, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Zatch Bell. Yu-Gi-Oh!, Kill la Kill, Raid Master, Zoids, Sea Control, No Game No Life, and Boruto The Next Generations. So I'll go through the list just one more time because I know that was a lot. So C tier, we have Radiant, Speed Grapher, Bleach, Occultic 9, Fairy Gone, Darwin's Game, Demon Slayer, Sora Online Alicization, Cyborg 009, Overlord, Gantz, Wiseman's Grandchild, Blood Lad, Danganronpa The Animation, Space Patrol Luluko, K, Elfen Lead, Sora Online Alicization. I just realized I put that up there twice, so apologies. Bento, Accel World, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Zatch Bell, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Kill la Kill, Raid Master, Zoids, Sea Control, No Game No Life, and Boruto The Next Generations. So, with this list, so a few things. So, Radiant, I want to put that higher. I'll have to watch the next season because I haven't watched season 2 yet. Radiant was one of those shows. I'll go ahead and say this. Radiant, I want to say that it is kind of underrated, or at least it's underappreciated because a lot of people wrote it off as a One Piece knockoff. Y'all need to go back. Like, if y'all really think that show is bad, y'all need to go back and rewatch it. I think people are sleeping on that show. Like some of my main issues, and y'all can just check out my review that I did for it. I was surprised I got a lot of positive reception with that review, and I thank y'all for actually supporting that because I thought I was gonna get a lot of hate for it. But that show, I was very surprised with what they did with the main character. Like, there's actually a lot of character growth by the end of the season, and to be honest, my only really, like, I want to say, if I remember correctly, like, my only big issues with it was really, I guess you can say, production value. Like, there was, like, I feel like the presentation could have been upped a bit more, and then the voice acting. As far as Kill la Kill, because I know some of y'all might disagree with this. Kill la Kill, like, I feel like a lot of I believe the studio is Studio Trigger. Studio Trigger works. Like, the animation was good. The character designs were unique. I wasn't a big fan of the character designs. I mean, I kind of get what they were going for with the whole clothing motif, for lack of a better word. But Kill la Kill, it wasn't the greatest thing in the world to me, but you know, it had a unique story and unique character designs. I mean, you can't knock it. Dragon Ball GT, I know that's one. So this is one that I had to. I told myself I gotta explain the whole Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, because I wasn't sure where to really put Dragon Ball on the tier list, because originally I think I had some of these a lot higher, but like I said before, I'm kind of weighing these shows against one another, and I'm just like, I can't put Dragon Ball too high because it's not Shakespeare. It's not the most complex, series out there, and especially original Dragon Ball Z. The pacing isn't really good. I'm just gonna be very frank with it. Dragon Ball Z, the original Dragon Ball Z, the pacing, and it had a lot more filler than Dragon Ball Kai. But Dragon Ball GT, especially after seeing what they did with Dragon Ball Super, this show gets a lot of hate. I know that's like it's like Dragon Ball GT is like the black sheep of the franchise, but honestly, I didn't think GT was. I don't think I've ever really thought that GT was bad. It was just like the first arc wasn't as good. After you get past that first arc, I mean, there's a lot to love about GT. Baby, the Shadow Dragons, that whole arc, the ending of the series. That ending of the series is way better than Dragon Ball Super's ending. That ending felt definitive, and like y'all need to go back and rewatch that. Like that felt like such a perfect ending to the franchise. That's why I wasn't really a big fan of them even like bringing the show back. Or if you're gonna bring it back, at least find some way to like tie in GT or like move toward that or something. But yeah, Dragon Ball GT gets a lot of hate, but I thought it was decent. I thought it was okay. Boruto: The Next Generations, because this is one that I know I'm gonna have to explain, because some people think the show is terrible, it's trash. The main problem with Boruto, the main problem with Boruto: The Next Generations, right, is the problem that the problem that Naruto Shippuden had, kind of throughout its series, really. It's mainly with the filler, I would say. The problem, so for those of you guys who don't know, Boruto has a lot of anime, what they like to call anime canon, but it's like filler, but not really filler. But let's be honest, it's filler. Like the main problem with Boruto: The Next Generations, because I've heard that the manga is really good, but the main problem with the anime adaptation is that it's just too much filler. I mean, there's some really good episodes in there, and even there's even some good filler. I mean, but it's not as good and it's not as strong as the original Naruto, and I don't even know if I would want to even put it on par with Naruto Shippuden, because I mean, even Naruto Shippuden had some really great moments, and it didn't really suffer. I mean, of course, like I said, Naruto Shippuden, it had filler, right? But this is a lot worse. This is a lot worse because we haven't even gotten to the meat and potatoes of Boruto: The Next Generations, of like the manga source material. We haven't gotten to the good stuff yet, and like I've been waiting for years. I'm just like, okay, when we gonna get to the good stuff? And then it got to a point where there was a recent arc where Boruto went back in time, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I had to drop it at that point because, and this is a lot of people's criticism with the show is like the more interesting, and I don't necessarily agree with this 100%, but a lot of people think that, well, Naruto, Sasuke, like all the characters that we've come to know and love, those are more interesting characters than Boruto, the children and stuff, right? And I have no problem with Boruto's character with the kids and stuff, but I need them to kind of move on with the story, kind of pick up the pace a little bit, because I think pacing is another problem with it. But it's mainly the fact that they're trying to make sure, from what I understand, they're trying to make sure that the anime doesn't catch up with the manga too quickly. But honestly, I think y'all put a bit too much space in between the manga and the anime, if you ask me. And Sword Art Online Alicization, that's gonna be the last show that oh no, so I need to talk about Demon Slayer also. But Sword Art Online Alicization, let me just say this: Reki Kawahara, he's gotten better. I know Sword Art Online. I know it's fun to trash the show. There are some good moments in Sword Art Online, period. Like, there are some good episodes. But the original two series, I would say the original two series are the worst of it. But Alicization, I like the gaming of the show. I even like that Reki Kawahara, he decided to make Kirito a vegetable and then give Alice the main character spotlight, right? And I really like Alice as a character. I hate the fact that I don't want to go into spoilers, but I hate what he did with Yu-Gi-Oh! That's all I'm gonna say. But I like Yu-Gi-Oh! Also. Like, there was a lot that I liked about the show. And if you guys haven't seen my review for that, y'all can go ahead and check that out. Darwin's Game was a pretty good survival game anime. it wasn't as good as I. Well, I'll have to again. I'll have to probably rewatch it, but Demon Slayer. That was gonna be the last show that I talk about, and then we can go ahead and move on. Demon Slayer. Let me just say this, cause some of y'all might have took the review the wrong way. I don't necessarily hate the show, but there's a lot that I do hate about the show. There was a lot that I liked about the show in the beginning. I'll just say this: Senetsu and Inosuke feel like they belong in a completely different show. The author doesn't know how to go between different tones, shifting tones. She doesn't really know, he or she. I'm not sure if it's a boy or if it's a male or female, but the author really doesn't know how to go between the tones. Um, her comedy, her comedy is very, very forced, and honestly, Demon Slayer. People talk about how great the art is and everything. I don't see it. Like there's a lot that I did not like at the end of the show that I talked about in my review. I feel like the pacing was just thrown off, especially since, like I said before, the comedy was very, very forced, especially with Zenetsu. I just feel like if the author had just stick to what they're good at, which is the dark, because I feel like the show thrives in the dark tone, when it's being serious and stuff. But the comedy can work, but only when they're not trying to force it. Like with Nezuko, there's stuff with Nezuko that's genuinely funny, and that whole dynamic with Nezuko and Tanjiro at the beginning of the show, and then also Tanjiro training at the beginning of the show. Like, there's a lot to really like about Demon Slayer, but there's also a lot to hate. So that's just kind of how I feel about it. Some people have even said, I watched a review by Taco Assemble the other day. I think he did a really good job doing that review of Demon Slayer. So if you haven't seen his review, just search Taco Assemble Demon Slayer review. Go and watch that. I think listen, I might not agree with everything that he said in that review, but he made some really good points. And he even called it a better version of Bleach. And I'll just say this about Bleach. Bleach was decent. I thought it went on way too long. I thought it went on way, way too long. And I kind of want to rewatch Bleach. So I'll kind of save what I have to say about Bleach for another day. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the B tier. So at B tier, we have Black Clover, Cowboy Bebop, Space Dandy, Dead Man Wonderland, Shaman King, One Punch Man, Soul Eater, Parasite, Eden of the East, Dr. Stone, Guilty Crown, Gundam Wing, Monster, ReZero, Robotic Notes, World Trigger, Blue Exorcist, Death Parade, B-Tune, Gleipnir, Errani Kenshin, Dragon Ball, Kai, and Naruto Shippuden. And just to repeat it again, we have Black Clover, Cowboy Bebop, Space Dandy, Dead Man Wonderland, Shaman King, One Punch Man, Soul Eater, Parasite, Eden of the East, Dr. Stone, Guilty Crown, Gundam Wing, Monster, ReZero, Robotic Notes, World Trigger, Blue Exorcist, Death Parade, B-Tune, Gleipnir, Errani Kenshin, Naruto Shippuden, and Dragon Ball Kai. Okay, so at the B tier, because a lot of the shows have shifted up and down. For those of you who have seen the original, video, but so with this, I'll start with ReZero. So ReZero could have been a lot higher on the list, but I feel like its main gimmick, for lack of a better word, Return by Death, it resulted in most of the show being about Subaru dealing with the power rather than kind of getting into its story. The show didn't really get into its story until the last possible minute. it felt like. At times, it feels like the show kind of lacked focus, which is why I can't put it any higher on the list, but I did really enjoy it. Death Parade may deserve to be higher on the list, but I need to go back and watch it to confirm. I think it had an issue with the ending. I mean, I think I had an issue with the ending. I can't even speak right now. So I think I had an issue with the ending, and then also I think it was maybe a couple of episodes too long. Gleipnir is another show that could be higher or lower on the list depending on how the rest of the season turns out. Episode 2's fight was just simply amazing. I love hand-to-hand combat in the show, and I thought that fight, after that fight, I thought, okay, we're in for something special, right? But I don't think Gleipnir has gotten, like, as far as the fights goes, it hasn't risen to that level of episode 2's fight. It hasn't risen to that level again. And also, something that I really got to applaud them for is Claire. I actually like the character of Claire. Some people might not like the character. I like her. I think she's an awesome character. She has this signature. She has a signature smile. Like that smile, I think, sets her apart from other females. Because I feel like with a lot of the survival game anime shows, they try to emulate Future Diaries, Garcia way too much. Like, even Darwin's Game, you can kind of draw a comparison between Yuno and Shuka. Like, my main complaint so far with Gleipnir is the overabundance of fan service and the pacing in certain episodes. Because otherwise it would be a lot higher, I think. One Punch Man was previously higher on the list. I believe I had it at A tier in the original video, but season 2 was a major step down. I thought that originally JC Staff wasn't a very good studio, but now I've definitely changed my thoughts on that. Barely any Saitama in this in the second season, and then the animation was just terrible. But from what I understand, it was either like a scheduling issue, like they just didn't have enough time. And I even heard somewhere, I don't know if this is true, but like I guess they outsourced it or brought some people in or something. I don't know. Monster. Now I know some of y'all might disagree. Like, why is Monster so low on this list? Monster, I'll say this: it started out intriguing, but the show felt a bit too slow and a bit too long. I don't think it needed to be like what? I think Monster's like 54 episodes. I think if I remember correctly, I don't think it needed to be that long. Cowboy Bebop and Space Dandy. Let me be clear, dude, these are good shows. Cowboy Bebop is a classic. I've only seen I've seen maybe 12 episodes of Cowboy Bebop. But I'll admit that their placement in B tier may be a reflection of my preference in regards to storytelling and setting. I'm not too big into space series, with a exception. There are a few exceptions. Like, obviously I mentioned Gundam earlier, so that's one of those exceptions. But I wasn't a big fan of Cowboy Bebop's episodic nature. And I wanted to move Black Clover up to the A tier, but we'll have to see how the next arc goes. This show has this show has really come a long way, and it's another underrated series that I would say is on the list, man. Like, y'all need to stop sleeping on this show. So I think I've said all that I've wanted to say about the B tier. Errani Kenshin, I'll say this also. Errani Kenshin, I'm gonna disregard anything involving the author, because I know some people like to drag his personal, what he did, into the mix with the show. But I'm just judging. I would just judge it, based off of the work itself and not the author. Errani Kenshin, I would have to rewatch it. Because I'll admit, like some of these shows I haven't watched in a second, so I would probably have to rewatch it. Okay, so moving on to the A tier. So we get into the big boys now. So at A tier we have Recreators, A Certain Scientific Railgun, Welcome to the NHK, From the New World, Steins Gate Zero, Mobile Suit Gundam Origins, Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans, Bofuri, I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. Cautious hero. The hero is overly cautious. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious. Orange, Fire Force, Naruto, Erased, Death Note, Code Geass, Full Metal Alchemist, Assassination Classroom, Tower of God, and Future Diary. And just to repeat it again, we have Recreators, A Certain Scientific Railgun, Welcome to the NHK, From the New World, Steins Gate Zero, Mobile Suit Gundam Origins, Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans, Bofuri, I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. Cautious hero, the hero is overpowered but overly cautious. Orange, Fire Force, Naruto, Erased, Death Note, Code Geass, Full Metal Alchemist, Assassination Classroom, Tower of God, and The Future Diary. Now, let me say this about The Future Diary, because I know some of y'all are going to go crazy. Like, why did you put this so far up on the list? Like I said a few minutes ago or whatever, it's one of those shows that I have not rewatched again, but I've seen the show like several times, at least 3 times, and I actually done 2 different reviews on my older channels for the show, and each time I thought it was a really, really good show. I thought it was really, really good. I would have to rewatch it because I was hesitant to even keep it at the spot because I think it might have even been higher on the list, and I started to move it down, but I'm like, I don't want to be influenced by other people's opinion. I think it deserved to be there at least at one point. Now, I could go back later on. Like if I end up doing an update to this tier list, I could go back and say, okay, this isn't as good as what I remember it, and then I'll gladly put it down there. Especially if Gleipnir ends up being a lot better. Then, if Gleipnir ends up being a way better show than Future Diary, I might have to. That might be another reason as to why I might have to put. Excuse me, can't even speak right now. That might be another reason as to why I might have to put it down. So yeah, so for like right now, it'll be at the A tier. But Tower of God, Tower of God is the one exception to the episodic requirement rule that I spoke of earlier. I didn't want to put a bunch of shows that I've only seen a few episodes of. I wanted to at least, any of the shows that I put up here, I want to at least be able to say that I watched enough of the show to give a proper judgment of it, right? Tower of God, I've only seen like maybe 3 or 4 episodes because I watched the English dub. But Tower of God is the one exception to that rule, and here's the reason why. The pacing, the story structure, and its characters, both writing-wise and design-wise, has been excellent so far. I've only seen a few episodes, like I said, but this is one anime that I thought was worth mentioning because of how its story was told and the unique twist on the shonen genre, on that, typical shonen fighting genre that it offers. I appreciate that the show wastes no time kind of getting into the good stuff. Like, it feels like we're in the tournament arc stuff already at the parts that I'm watching now, but we're only a few episodes into the show. It feels great. But here's the thing, it doesn't sacrifice any of the important elements that are needed to craft a good story, in my opinion. The show has one of the best first episodes of a show that I've seen in a while. I would say since like My Hero Academia or even The Promised Neverland. I think it might be as good as the #1 show on this tier list, but I'll have to see more before I can really say for certain. Naruto. Now this is one that some people definitely might disagree with me on, but kind of hear me out here. So Naruto gets a lot of hate for the insane amount of filler at the end, but if you disregard all that, if you disregard the filler that was at the end of the show was really good in terms of the themes it tackled, the overall story and characters. I feel like pretty much every arc was really, really good. There was like I guess you could say the search for Tsunade is probably the weakest arc, but it isn't bad at all in my opinion. Every arc was really good. I mean, I don't understand. Like, I understand the hate in regards to, okay, there's a bunch of filler, but original Naruto was really good. Now, what Kishimoto did later on with Naruto Shippuden and that whole child of prophecy thing, and him basically going back on, what he did with Neji. I don't want to go into the whole thing. I understand that, with Naruto Shippuden, but I'm just strictly talking about original Naruto. I just watched. So here's the thing. I just watched Mobile Suit Gundam Origins last year, right? If y'all haven't seen the original series or this one, I highly suggest that you watch it. All I'm gonna say is that Shard is one cold-blooded dude, man. These people, like the stuff that they did in this show, because I don't want to spoil it. I wish I could say what it is, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. This was actually way better because I've never watched the original Gundam, because obviously I was too young with that. Like, the original Gundam came out like 1975, something like that. But I thought it was really good. I mean, I'm pretty sure they probably, glossed over a few things because it's condensed. It's like, what, a 12 or 13 episode series. But I thought it was really good. Fire Force. I know I'm going to piss some people off with this one. Fire Force was one of the most underrated shows of last year. I would even say it was probably the best new show of last year. Now, the only reason I won't say that definitively, as far as saying it's the best new show of last year, I haven't seen that one show that people say is like really good, Vinland Saga. I haven't seen that, and I think if I end up watching Vinland Saga, I don't think I'm gonna like it. And I explained on Scream as to why, and I'll kind of save that for a different video. I don't think that I'm going to like it personally, so that might actually that could kind of reflect my opinion of that show later on. But anyway, like I said, Fire Force is, as far as I'm concerned, that was the best new show of last year. It deserves so much more praise than Demon Slayer got, and that's for sure. Some of the fights in the show are dang near movie quality, especially Show versus Shinra. David Productions outdid themselves with that one. They outdid themselves with a lot of the animation and fights. Not only that, but the characters were well written and memorable. The story was engaging and entertaining, or intriguing, I should say. But the characters, but like here's the thing. Also, unlike Demon Slayer, the author can effortlessly switch between a dark and serious tone to a lighthearted comedic tone. The comedy in Fire Force feels natural and doesn't pull down the show, unlike Demon Slayer. Like, I have to, and forgive me, Demon Slayer fans, because I know some of y'all gonna kind of hate the comparison, but I have to, because listen, the author of Soul Eater and Fire Force, they don't struggle when it comes to shifting the tones and then doing the comedy. And if people praise Demon Slayer, but then they put down Fire Force. So I have to say something about it. I got to comment on it. And so I guess the last thing I'm gonna say about any show that's on this part of the tier list, I was hesitant to put Steins Gate Zero at the A tier. I just got finished watching both Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero this weekend. Awesome shows. I think that, but here's the thing with Steins Gate Zero. I think that there was probably maybe one or two plot holes, and that's why I can't put it at the S tier. I don't think it's as strong as Steins Gate, but I may have to rewatch it. I'm planning on rewatching both series at a later date, so their places, or at least the place for Steins Gate Zero, that might change. And so, okay, so now we're at the S tier, right? And I want to just take this time to just thank you guys for actually sitting through all this, because I know the video is probably a lot longer than I expected. Yep, 40 minutes. So thank you guys. If you guys have sat through all of this so far, I just want to take a quick second to just thank y'all for that, because I know the video is quite long. So At the S tier, right? We got My Hero Academia, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, The Promised Neverland, Grimgar, Fantasy and Ash, Mob Psycho 100, Fully Cooley, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Steins Gate. So let me just kind of talk about JoJo Bizarre Adventure. I'm not 100%. So here's the thing. I'm not 100% sure about this, right? I'm not 100% anymore. I'm not 100% sure about this anymore. And the reason why is because of the last 2 seasons. I mean, the first 4 seasons were good, or I should say the first 4 parts. So like everything up until Diamond is Unbreakable. Cause I like, so don't get me wrong, I like Diamond is Unbreakable, but it felt a bit, and I keep using this word, so forgive me. It's a bit. It felt a bit unfocused, like it was kind of everywhere, and I felt like there was a few plot threads that they just never went back and bothered to answer by the end of the show, right? And Golden Wind, something feels weird about Golden Wind, and I can't. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that feels this way, and I can't put my finger on it, but something feels weird about Golden Wind. So I was hesitant putting this at S tier again because I believe I had it at S tier before. I probably meant to put this down further in the list. I just never changed it. But it is, JoJo Bizarre Adventure is definitely a really, really good show though. But I just thought that I kind of probably needed to maybe put that a little further down, I guess like A tier. But since I kept it here, I'm gonna stand by it. But I will say this though. If the next season isn't hitting like the first few seasons, I'll probably end up putting it down. I still love the show. I still love JoJo, but I might have to put it down. But other than that, Yu Yu Hakusho. I'll say this: Yu Yu Hakusho is the only good thing that Togashi has ever made. I'm sorry, y'all. I know I'm gonna get the Hunter x Hunter fans on my back, but yeah, this is the only thing that he has ever made that you can call a masterpiece. Gosh darn it, Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter. It's like apples and, I don't want to say apples and oranges because that's not the right comparison there. It's like apples and cake. It's just two different things. You know, it's the quality of Yu Yu Hakusho cannot be denied. Period. The quality of Hunter x Hunter, oh, that's arguable. That's arguable. But Yu Yu Hakusho, that was fire. I can't even hate on the man for that. Grimgar is way more focused in terms of story, in comparison to ReZero, which is why Grimgar is up here instead of ReZero. I honestly think Grimgar is a very realistic take on the whole isekai thing. The Promised Neverland, I did a review on that. That show was really, really good. Really good psychological show. And My Hero Academia, y'all already know, man. And like if some of y'all have watched the Scream from the other day, then y'all already know how I feel about this show. It's pretty much the best shonen fighting shonen, excuse me, I can't even speak right now. Fighting shonen ever made, right? I think it's not only one of the best fighting shonen ever made, I think it's probably one of the best cartoons ever made, and probably it's definitely in the top 10. I would say it's probably in the top 10 or top 20 maybe, in terms of, you know, just best material, best like show ever made. I know some of y'all are like, oh man, you're really hyping that up. You're like, nah, man. Cause I get it. Some people like to hate on the show, and I'm not gonna get into all that. But y'all gotta stop sleeping on the show, man. Y'all gotta stop hating just because it's popular. I mean, it's what it is. But I'll say this. So now I'm going to for the rest of the video. So we're gonna do a few things here. So I want to quickly just say this. So just to answer one of the questions, what anime would you consider to be a masterpiece? I would say any show that you see in the S tier, with the exception of, cause like I said, JoJo Bizarre Adventure. Well, yeah, I'm like, I don't know, like JoJo Bizarre Adventure. I could put, like I said, I could put that at A tier. So maybe with the exception of that, maybe I would say that anything in the S tier, I would say I would consider to be a masterpiece. There are probably other shows that I forgot to actually put on the tier list in general. And don't take this list as being okay. These are the only shows this man has watched, because there are a ton of shows that I've watched, but like I said before, I've either omitted them because of the amount of episodes that I watched. I felt like I couldn't, like I haven't watched enough to make a good judgment of it, or I either left it off because of that, or I left it off because I probably just forgot about it. But yeah, I would say that any show that's in that S tier, I would say is a masterpiece. And for me, like I said, I don't like to really throw that term around a lot. Like, I've only used that term to really describe something like The Promised Neverland in a video, right? Steins Gate, like I said, I just watched that this week. Well, last weekend. Well, not last weekend, last week. And I watched the original Steins Gate in 2 days, right? I watched the whole dang thing in 2 days. Not only that, I watched the OVAs and the movie too. Steins Gate is one of the best anime movies ever made, and it is one of the best psychological thrillers. And I would say it's a bit of a romance too. Like, Steins Gate is really, really good. But yeah, in terms of masterpieces, like I said, I don't like to throw that word around too much. Like I said, anything that's in that S tier, but I would say in particular, The Promised Neverland, Steins Gate, My Hero Academia, Grimgar. I'll even put Mob Psycho 100 also. But like I said, just anything in that S tier, I would say. Because for me, because some people have their own sort of definition of it. For me, I would say in order to be considered a masterpiece, literally everything, like, I know there's no such thing as a perfect show, but the shows that are considered to be a masterpiece for me, or I would say that anything within that tier, I would say that it's not perfect, because like I said, nothing is perfect, but it dang near comes close. Like, literally everything, just about everything in your show has to be fire. Just about everything in your show has to be finely tuned, and I feel like all the shows that are on that S tier definitely do it. So that kind of answers that question. I've already kind of spoken on what shows that I thought was like underrated. Black Clover, Radiant, a few others that I mentioned in this video. As far as favorite anime, I'm gonna kind of go down the list, because what I did, I'm actually looking at my document right now and how I have it formatted. I have certain shows highlighted, and those shows that I have highlighted, I said, okay, these are my favorite shows. These are like the shows that I'll go back to, that I know I'll go back to. I can rewatch. Like, I freaking love these shows, right? So here are these shows that I think that I would say are like my favorite shows. So kind of going down the list here, My Hero Academia, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, The Promised Neverland, Grimgar, Fantasy and Ash, Fooly Cooly, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Steins Gate, A Certain Scientific Railgun. I freaking love this show, man. Freaking love it. Steins Gate Zero, Bofuri, I Don't Want to Get Hurt, so I max out my defense, Fire Force, Naruto, Death Note, Code Geass, Assassination Classroom, The Future Diary, Black Clover, Soul Eater, Dr. Stone, World Trigger, Naruto Shippuden, Dragon Ball Kai, Radiant, Dragon Ball Z, Fairy Tail, and that's it. So those are my favorites. Just for y'all, just for those people who are wondering. And I'll go back to that list just one more time, just in case y'all didn't catch it all, right? So we got, for my favorites, just to repeat, We got My Hero Academia, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, The Promised Neverland, Grimgar Fantasy and Ash, Fooly Cooly, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Steins Gate, A Certain Scientific Railgun, Steins Gate Zero, Bofuri, I Don't Want to Get Hurt, so I max out my defense, Fire Force, Naruto, Death Note, Code Geass, Assassination Classroom, The Future Diary, Black Clover, Soul Eater, Dr. Stone, World Trigger, Naruto Shippuden, Dragon Ball Kai, Radiant, Dragon Ball Z, Fairy Tail, and that's it. So there you have it. I gave y'all the entire tier list. I gave y'all some of the names of my favorite anime, the anime that I think are underrated, and masterpieces. So before I close this video out, I'm just gonna go through the entire tier list one more time because I'm not gonna be doing a lot of editing and stuff with this video, and I apologize if that seems lazy of me. I got a lot of things I want to do and need to do at this moment, so that is basically why I'm just going to kind of I might just throw up some gameplay here and not even worry about the formatting or anything like that. So apologies if that seems a bit lazy of me, but I got things I need to do. I want to also just once again take the time to actually thank y'all for actually sitting through this entire thing. If y'all actually sat through this entire thing, God bless you. God bless you regardless, even if you hate the list, right? You know, if y'all hate the list, feel free to hit the dislike button if you like it, if you agree with it, or whatever. You know, if you enjoy listening to the video, because I know this is a long video. Like I said, if y'all enjoy listening to it, thanks. You know, hit the like button. But if not, if y'all hate my opinion so much, feel free to hit the dislike button. I'm not even gonna hate on you for it, man. Like, it is what it is. Like don't take any of this as an attack against you personally. That's one thing I gotta say. And I shouldn't have to say it, but a lot of people take it. You know, a lot of people take when you talk about their favorite anime and you like put it down. A lot of people take that as an insult personally, and they get into their feelings, and then they insult the person, and that has happened to me so many times on this channel over the years, especially with certain fan bases that I'm not gonna mention. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead, go through the list, and we're gonna close things out. So going through the entire list. So S tier, we have My Hero Academia, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, The Promised Neverland, Grimgar Fantasy and Ash, Mob Psycho 100, Fooly Cooly, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Steins Gate. At A tier, we have Recreators, A Certain Scientific Railgun, Welcome to the NHK, From the New World, Steins Gate Zero, Mobile Suit Gundam Origins, Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, Bofuri, I Don't Want to Get Hurt, so I max out my defense, Cautious Hero, the hero is overpowered but overly cautious, Orange, Fire Force, Naruto, Erased, Death Note, Code Geass, Full Metal Alchemist, Assassination Classroom, Tower of God, and The Future Diary. At B tier, we have Black Clover, Cowboy Bebop, Space Dandy, Dead Man Wonderland, Shaman King, One Punch Man, Soul Eater, Parasite, Eden of the East, Dr. Stone, Guilty Crown, Gundam Wing, Monster, ReZero, Robotic Notes, World Trigger, Blue Exorcist, Death Parade, B-Tomb, Gleipnir, Errani Kenshin, Naruto Shippuden, and Dragon Ball Kai. At C tier, we have Radiant, Speed Grapher, Bleach, Occultic 9, Furrygon, Darwin's Game, Demon Slayer, Sora Online Alicization, Cyborg 009, Overlord, Gantz, Wiseman's Grandchild, Blood Lad, Danganronpa the Animation, Space Patrol Luluko, K, Elfin Lead, Bento, A Cell World, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Zatch Bell, Yu Yu Hakusho, Kill la Kill, Raid Master, Zoids, Sea Control, No Game No Life, and Boruto The Next Generations. At D tier, so at D tier we have Fairy Tail, Assassin's Pride, Big Order, Pantheon Stocking, Chaos Child, Chaos Head, Tenchi Muyo, Hunter x Hunter, Sora Online, Dragon Ball Super, Black Lagoon, Attack on Titan, Gundam Seed, Divine Gate, and Afterloss. And then finally at E tier we have King's Game, Gundam Unicorn, School Days, Inuyasha, Tokyo Ghoul, Sora Online 2, Eureka 7, Catcher and Sins, Duel Masters, and Bo. So, once again, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Like the video, subscribe, or you can dislike the video, do whatever. Thank you guys. I'm out of here. Peace.